May the words of my mouth and the meditation of all our hearts be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. So some of you may have heard me talk about my years working for HIV, AIDS, and LGBTQ rights back in the 1980s and 90s. It was a challenging time, but it was also a hopeful time. Discrimination against LGBTQ people was part of our daily routine, our daily reality. Those living with HIV, and especially those with AIDS, were feared, shunned, even abandoned. I remember hospital staff refusing to touch patients because they were afraid of contracting the virus. People were dying alone, not because they were untouchable, but because others were afraid. For those of us on the front lines of the movement fighting for dignity, caring for those with HIV/AIDS, it was about creating a world of hope, dignity, freedom, and compassion. It was about building the kind of world we wanted to live in. In the Old Testament, we hear another story about people learning to build the community they wanted to live in. After being led out of bondage, the Israelites were brought into the desert. And there in the wilderness, they must figure out what kind of people they want to be. In the desert, they learn to create the life God calls them to. Much of the Torah, the first 5 books, is the story of God teaching them how to build that community, a community of justice, mercy, holiness, compassion, and belonging. Their wilderness was a place of becoming. Sometimes I look around today and I worry that we have taken for granted the progress forged in those earlier decades. The compassion, the openness, the dignity that so many fought and suffered for. And now, many of those values seem to be unraveling. We see things being torn down and replaced with attitudes and actions that don't feel like who we want to be as people. Maybe, just maybe, this is our own American exile. Maybe this is the time in our time in the desert, our moment of reckoning when we must ask again, who do we want to be? What kind of world do we want to live in? Moses put that question before the Israelites. I set before you today life and death. Choose life. And I think that Moses reminds us that this same choice is in front of us now. To ask ourselves, what are we willing to say yes to with our entire being? Today is the last Sunday of the liturgical year, the Feast of Christ the King. I think it comes at the end of the liturgical year for a reason. Because if we want to understand the story of God, we have to know how it ends. We need to know where we're going. Next Sunday, we'll begin with Advent, the beginning of the story. God's love unfolding through prophets, through promises, through a child born in Bethlehem. We'll journey again through how Jesus grows and lives and gathers disciples and teaches and heals and how he dies. Like the disciples, we might ask, Was it worth it? Was it worth going through all that living, all that loving, all that healing, all that teaching, all that dying? Was it worth it? But we know the end of the story. We know the answer because today, before Advent begins, we looked at the end of the story. The kingdom of God, the beloved community, a world of hope, compassion, and dignity. That's the world our hearts long for. That's the world we want to live in. That is the world Jesus calls his kingdom. But the question remains, what kind of world do we want to live in? What world is worth building, worth giving our lives to? Because beloved community doesn't build itself. It requires a choice. It requires effort. It requires courage. We have to choose it, then act. We have to choose it, then live into it. But here is our hope. Every time we gather at this table, every time we gather to give thanks for all of the goodness in our lives and in creation, every time we tell the story of God's love, we remember that God has already made a choice. God chose us. God chose to dwell with us, to walk among us, to show us the way. And though choosing us may have been the easy part, pursuing us, reconciling us, healing us, was the hard work that God willingly took on. So we are grateful for this, and we have hope. Because God walks with us through all of it, our courage and our discouragement, our energy and our weariness, our progress and our setbacks. So if we choose life, if we choose to be who God has already called us to be, then we will walk this journey together. We will become the people we were meant to be. We will build the community God dreams for us. But it won't happen without us. We must decide. We must choose, beloved community. We must choose the hard work of compassion, justice, and hope. So I ask you, are you up to the challenge? Are you ready to make your choice? Are you ready to join in the hard work of becoming beloved community? We have only one life after all. This is it. There's no dress rehearsal. Our eternity begins here. The choices we make, the way we live, it's our only life. And we are grateful for it. Today is the day to live. Are you ready to make your life count?